So we are in our final week of Better, and the topic today is going to be something that we all battle with and probably should be better at. How many of you find yourself occasionally or often impatient? I know that I am usually an extremely patient person. It's almost to the point of irritating how much I can take and wait, and it was just something that God blessed me with growing up. But right now, guys, I'm feeling it. I am feeling the impatience. If I can just be completely transparent with you, just human to human, I am ready to turn this car around on 2020, okay? I am sick of it. You know, where we finally get to come back in person, and then something hits, then we got to go back to digital, and it's just back and forth, back and forth. It is really testing my patience, Village Heights patience, the staff's patience. It's testing your patience. But truly, when it comes to patience, it can actually make things better. But when it comes to impatience, one of the sad things is that we're most impatient with the things that we love or the people that we love. Impatience, anger, revenge, it is all actually natural impulses that we have. Because by nature, we're selfish, and we want to self-preserve our who we are and what we have going on. And so when something is not going our way, we get impatient. Some of you might find that you lose patience at work. There might be difficult bosses, difficult customers, and you lose patience with them. Some of you lose patience with a family member, especially when the holidays kind of roll around, or maybe even the fact that we've been in quarantine and cooped up. You're finally losing your patience with family members. Some of you find impatience with, you maybe have an older child that's away from God, and you want them to get reunited with Christ, and you're becoming impatient. Some of you have a spouse that you might be a Christian, but your spouse might not be. Or the person that you have fallen in love with also, and you are being tested in your patience. That's a very challenging thing. And when it comes to impatience, we make rash decisions. We make decisions that are unwise. But there is something that is supernatural that can help us out. There is something that is better that can help us transform our relationships. And I believe that's a patience that just not just because you're human and you know what patience means and you try it. No, there's a patience that comes from God that helps us get through the insurmountable odds that we face in our life. So we're going to be focusing on this scripture today. Proverbs 16:32, it says, "Better a patient person than a warrior, one with self-control than one who takes a city." When it comes to self-control, you have to have patience. It's better to be patient than an angry, argumentative, controlling fighter. And some of you are looking at me and go, but have you put impatience to the have you tried it? It actually feels great. And I understand that when you get impatient and you start barking orders and getting upset with people, you might get short-term results, but it will definitely and most always cause long-term dysfunction in all the relationships that you have. Sooner or later, people are going to get tired of you being impatient with them, and they're going to look elsewhere. So, be patient. So, how many of you have had your patience tested in the last month? And of course, whether you would agree with it or not, I know that you have, because of what we're facing, and it's one word: pandemic. This pandemic has tried all of us, or our state, or our country. This is a global thing. All of humanity is being tested right now. Whether you have the virus or not, whether if you have experienced it and had to be patient through that healing, but regardless, for the job loss, from having been cooped up, you have been affected in some way because of this pandemic. And then on top of that, we have this extraordinary situation going on, maybe there is someone in your life that is testing your patience. You ever wonder, why won't she do the right thing? And it just circles in your head. Or why won't he just apologize? Why doesn't my boss recognize my talent? Why are people acting so crazy when things are already crazy? Like we need more of it for some reason. And then ultimately we end up at, why do I even put up with this? And that is where impatience comes. That's when we begin to lose it and begin to rush and become these warriors to fight for the things that we think that we need. The New Testament actually complements our verse that we're looking at, Proverbs 16:32. Paul said in his closing instructions to the Thessalonians, he said this. It's 1 Thessalonians 5:12 through 15. Now we ask you, brothers and sisters, to acknowledge those who work hard among you, who care for you in the Lord and who admonish you. Hold them in the highest regard in love of their work. Live in peace with each other. And we urge you, brothers and sisters, warn those who are idle and disruptive. Encourage the disheartened. Help the weak. Be patient with everyone. Make sure that nobody pays back wrong with wrong. Man, I could just say that over and over again. Everybody needs to hear that one. Nobody should pay back wrong with wrong, but always strive to do what is good for each other and everyone else. I love that it didn't just say be patient. It said be patient with everyone. That even includes the people that you disqualify for patience. Those people in your life that you were like, I've had enough. They don't deserve it. No, it says right here, continue to be patient with everyone. It does not say, let everyone take advantage of you. It does not say, let everyone just take everything from you until you're left with nothing. No. It says, be patient and wait. Better a patient person than a warrior, than a fighter. But why? Why is that the case? Why does Scripture ring this constantly through the Old Testament and the New Testament? So we're going to go through three things. Why is patience better, right? Number one, if you're taking notes, this is the time to do that. Number one, a patient person can help heal dysfunctional relationships. I'll say it again. A patient person can help heal dysfunctional relationships. Proverbs 15:18 says, a hot-tempered person stirs up conflict. And we can immediately identify a lot of those. Some of you, it might be you, and you identify yourself. A hot-tempered person stirs up conflict, but the one who is patient calms a quarrel. There's the story of Joseph and his older brother. Joseph was destined for told so, and he had dreams of it, but his older brothers got jealous of him, and his older brothers ended up taking him away, kidnapping him, and deciding whether they just kill him or sell him off. And so luckily they let him live. And you would think that Joseph in that moment, he wants justice, he wants to be impatient, he wants God to smite them right then. But he did just the opposite. Joseph stayed patient. He waited. He forgave everybody that had wronged him. And then eventually, Because of his patience, it was rewarded. Joseph ended up being the man on top, being recognized by his family and his brothers as that. So what the enemy meant for evil, and a lot of you probably need to hear this right now. What the enemy meant for evil, God can transform to good. God can literally take anything that is happening in our lives and transform it for his good. And Scripture says it's for his good, and that's best, because we think we want it for our good. Actually, God's good is way better than anything we could ever imagine or fathom on our own. So he'll take whatever it may be. There was a time in my life that I hit really hard depression. This is probably the most depressed I had ever been in my life. And you probably have heard the story before that my second ministry job was as a youth pastor. And guys, I got fired. And I really wasn't told why, other than that I just wasn't a fit. When you feel like not just that you want to do something, you have a passion, but you have a calling towards it, like you feel like God has asked you to do this thing, and then humans say, you're not a fit, we let you go. I went into a tailspin, spiral, down, I was looking for any outlet to, there wasn't really anything else to do, so I just went straight into depression for probably a good 6 to 8 months. I was married, and Hannah, in all of her wisdom and love for me, stayed patient with me. She didn't come to me and go, you need to get over it. You need to get up. You need to, stop, whatever it may be that someone might tell you in that moment. And she was patient with me. She sat with me. She loved me. And she helped see me through that. And because of that, I came out even stronger than I ever was before. And so because of Hannah's patience, she was able to heal the dysfunction inside of me and the dysfunction that I had in the relationships with the people around me that was sending me into depression. Proverbs 25:15 also says, through patience, a ruler can be persuaded. Through patience, God can change hearts and heal broken relationships. Years later, when I decided, I'm going to get back into ministry, I feel like this is a calling. I need to be patient with it. That was a fluke. That was just a weird situation. And I decided I'm going to start throwing my resume back out there to churches. And I did that, but I was worried that the church on my resume who fired me would have something bad to say about me. And so in my patience, God gave me, I don't know if the heart needed to be swayed or not, but God gave me the courage to call my ex-boss, and I asked him, I just got the courage, and I said, am I going to have any surprises? And to my complete just shock, that boss told me, I'd hire you again. It wasn't really you. That place really just wasn't a fit for you, except they had to say it in that way that you weren't a fit. So to my shock, God was even taking that relationship and mending it, and it gave me the confidence to step out in my calling again. So that's number one. Number two, a patient person gives God time to work. That's what happens when you're patient. Psalm 27:14 says, wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. It's almost like, you probably didn't hear it, so I'm going to repeat it again. That's what the psalmist says. When it comes to difficult situations, difficult people, facing a pandemic and then job loss and economic failure and all these things, and then talking about all the racial stuff that we've been going through in this nation, patience is needed. And sometimes we feel like we get to the end of it, but we have to remember the Lord knows better. Jesus didn't give up on people. Jesus actually was the most justified to give up on people, and he didn't. He didn't write off the woman at the well because of her immoral life. He didn't blackball the tax collector Zacchaeus for his sins. He didn't ban Peter for his denial. Not just one denial, 3 denials. And Jesus even knew he was going to do it before he did it. You would think that he should be impatient with him, but he didn't. He stayed patient. He did not give up. He loved, he forgave, and he waited on God to work. Over time, you will find that God changes all lives and even more than that if you will just wait, not be impatient with God. And I know that's hard to do, but you got to wait. And sometimes that means the only thing you can do is pray. As a pastor and a boss, when we started Village Heights, Hannah and we constantly prayed for the staff that we would have. And we had these ideas of what we thought was the right staff and what we think it should be. But then we kept praying, Lord, we're going to wait on you and let your will be done. You know what's right. You know who's best. And it's really cool because we pray that and we're patient with God and we don't make rash decisions on hiring or what we think that we need for the future. God has always provided the right staff member for the right time, for whatever we are facing in that moment, whether it's growth or a pandemic or whatever it may be. I mean, if I sat down and told you the stories of the people that we've hired and the times that we did and what God brought them to us and how it would blow your mind. It's almost eerie how it goes down, but it just proves to us that when we wait on God, he will bring the right thing. We have to be strong in that. Romans 8:25 says, but if we hope for what we do not have, we wait for it patiently. If we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently. That's basically saying that God hears you. He's not ignoring you. Trust me, guys, I want a building more than you know for Village Heights. I want a home for this Village Heights family to grow and expand and welcome others into that home. But God knows better, and we have to be patient with that. I can't help to think that if God gave us a home a year ago, in this pandemic, we would be struggling. It's almost like God knows better, right? So we have to wait and be patient with that. Because better a patient person than a warrior. Better a patient person than an angry fighter. But why do those things matter? Why does it matter that we can help heal broken, dysfunctional relationships, or be patient with our problems, or give God time to work? Why does all that truly add up to matter, and why we should actually do it? Why should we be patient? Because number 3, God has been patient with you. 2 Peter 3:8-9 says, but do not forget this one thing, dear friends. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. The Lord is not slow in keeping his promises, as some understand slowness. Instead, he is patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish, but everyone to come to repentance. One of my pastoral, yes, but Christ follower pet peeves are people who always want to be awarded patience, but never seem to have any to offer anybody else. As if you're the only one deserving of grace and patience, but not others. And those of you who are quick to judge others and be impatient with them, you might not have the same sin, but all sin is the same weight to God. And so your sin might not be the same, but your hands are not clean. And if you deserve patience, so do they. And frankly, I'm telling you this, and it's going to hurt a little bit. I'm telling you this because if you are constantly impatient with people, you look like a fool. You look like someone that not only doesn't care about the people around them, and I know that because of what it says in Luke 6:42. It says, how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when you yourself fail to see the plank in your own eye? You hypocrite. First take the plank out of your eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. I can't tell you how many times people have come to me to want to complain about other people. like I'm the authority on how people should act. No, I just bring the teaching on how people should act. God's the one that changes people. And it never fails. They get so zeroed in on this little thing that they have, and I'm looking at them and like, how can you not see your own problem? You're too busy judging them that you're missing this car wreck that's in your life. You look like a fool. You look like a big, fat hypocrite. And this might hurt, but it's especially prevalent for now. Ecclesiastes 7:8 says, "The end of a matter is better than its beginning, and patience is better than pride." Most of the time, I have found in my life, that when you find impatience, it's connected to pride. You give me something, you come to me, you give me a situation or someone or a place, and you come to me and you give me the reasons why it's impatient, and you get present it, you can paint it as beautiful. Most of the time, not all the time, most time, I can almost guarantee I can draw a direct line from your impatience to your pride. Because you think that you're better than somebody, or you think that my time is more valuable than others, that you choose to be impatient with them. If you lack patience, a good place is to start with your pride. If you're a person who's constantly just fed up with everybody, people are difficult. That's life. Welcome to humanity. This world's great, but humans ruin it all the time. But here's the thing, they could also make it great if you can just be patient with them. Identify yourself. If you're a person who just cannot stand it, look at yourself. Figure out why that is. What is it tied to? Because in these times that we are facing, we could use a lot less pride and a lot more patience for those around us. Because when we are impatient in a pandemic, impatient in racial dysfunction in our country, when we are impatient with the economy, impatient with our leaders, what we're telling them is that our time is more important than them. And you're just as human as anybody else. And they also deserve a chance. So if you want better, guys, patience is a great place to start. Great place. Patience will change your life and the lives of others around you. It will change the room. I can't tell you how many situations that I have walked into, just crazy, everybody's angry and fighting, and it's on the edge of just chaos and explosion. And I walk into the room and I say, whoa, 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 let's wait a second. Literally can change patience. So patience will change your life, the lives of others, and everything around you. And if you wonder how much patience you should offer, take a moment and think about how much patience you've been given. Christ had so much patience for you in those times that you ignored him and you knew better. He had so much patience for humanity that he didn't just come to earth and just die instantly and go, okay, no, he was painstakingly teaching us, walking with us, being the example, being patient with us so we could understand and write all this stuff down. And then he lugged a cross. I can't even remember, I'm sure I have to go back in my studies, how long he even walked, but it was a long way, a heavy cross after being whipped, being physically destroyed for you. Talk about patience. So there is no limit to the patience that we should be offering, because there's no limit to the patience that God has offered us. But you have to remember, in this whole collection, everything that we've looked at today, patience, you have to choose it. It doesn't just happen, because we've learned better is a choice. So let's be better. Village Heights, let's start with us. Let's show this world what God-given patience can do. Let's show this community that when we are patient with our problems and wait on God, lives can change, not just in a moment, for the rest of them, till the end of their days. And that's when you get to see the true power of patience, when things get better. But it's a choice, and you have to choose it. So let's pray. Lord, thank you so much for being patient with us. Lord, we did not deserve all that you've done. Lord, reading through the Old Testament and the New Testament, humans just constantly just keep failing and falling on their face, just dysfunction everywhere. And Lord, we see it today clearly more than ever in our lifetime, the dysfunction. Lord, thank you for being patient with us. So Lord, empower us to share that same patience with others. Lord, because we don't want destruction and dysfunction. We want unity. We want opportunities to show the love of Christ, which is a power that far exceeds anything that we could ever understand. But it takes us waiting on the Lord, waiting on you. So please empower us. Give us courage to be patient with those who are around us, who are giving us problems. Give us the strength and the courage to be patient with this nation as we struggle with this. And Lord, at home, as mothers and fathers and children and family units, help us to be patient with one another, to put ourselves in the other's shoes, to have self-control, to create opportunities of bonding rather than separation. Because, Lord, your love is meant to bring together, to build a bridge closer to you. And we want to exemplify that in our lives. Lord, we love you. Thank you for this great collection that we are in. Lord, I pray that each and every person that has heard any of these messages will make the choice and choose better. Lord, we give you all the praise and all the honor. In Jesus' name, amen.